Not everyone is convinced that the government will succeed in its efforts to regulate spaza shops and ensure food safety. President Cyril Ramaphosa announced drastic measures to be taken within the next 21 days, which include the re-registration of all spaza shops in the country. The Township Economy Commission of South Africa's Bheki Twala joins me now to chat more on this. Mr. Twala, very good morning to you. Thank you so much for your time and for being with us.
No, thank you very much. Good morning, and good morning to the viewers at home. Thank you very much for having us.
Now, this is where we've come to, where the president has now asked for the closure of those spaza shops where children have died and for the re-registration of spaza shops within the next 21 days. We were speaking before cameras were rolling that it's been a long time coming. Your organization has been intervening and speaking with government. Why do you think it's only taken now for government to step up after so many deaths?
Yeah, it's unfortunately, Katlego, to say it's now looking at the situation after we've lost the kids, our kids. But what we are saying, we are very excited with what the president, pronounced, the call to action. Now, we've been saying, as the township organized business formations, we've started programs in terms of the issues of spaza shops. But remember, when we talk about township economy, we don't just talk about spaza shop.
Yes.
We've identified about 16 plus critical township economy sectors. Retail and spaza shop, it's one of the sectors that we're looking at. But we are looking at the issue of the time frames. 21 days, it's a little bit of a concern, but if government come down and speak to us and engage with us and collaborate and partner with us, I think it's doable.
So you share the same sentiments as the National Informal Traders Alliance, as well as SAFTU's General Secretary Zweli Nzimavavi, saying that 21 days is not feasible. What do you think are the challenges that lie ahead in making this 21 days work?
You remember when you look at spaza shop in all 9 provinces, we've got about 550 townships in the country. But if municipalities have strategies to engage with the local spaza shop, yes, it can be done. Although you remember the challenges with our own businesses. There are those that they've closed because of the lack of funding, the lack of support. We are saying, for example, as Texas, we've got a call to action. On the 26th, we'll be calling in Imbizo, we'll be having Imbizo to call all the spaza shop to come and start aligning, because what is important, we need to also to unpack what is the registration says. Are we saying spaza shop need to register with CIPC first as businesses, and then also remember the issue of COAs, the certificate of acceptability, the issue of trade licenses, the issue of zoning. There's a lot that needs to be done. It's not, easy, but as long as we are intentional about it, it is doable.
I mean, Soweto alone has just over 1,000 spaza shops. And I can imagine, like you say, if it's registering with CIPC, as an organization being Texas, you often come across issues with small businesses having to be compliant with government. Do you think it's going to be a bit of a stretch in terms of expecting them to have their VAT, their BEE, to be fully registered with CIPC from the time that the president says?
Remember, when you talk about compliance, number one, it's not cheap, it's very expensive.
Right.
Some of the businesses, they might not have resources to do compliance. You also have the issue of, central database, the CSD. It's an issue as well. As I said, getting COAs, getting the trade license, it's a little bit of a tight, time frames. But it's a task that we're willing because of the challenges that we're facing. Remember, when we talk about township economy, let me take you back to 2014 when we've launched what we call the Township Revitalization Strategy 2019. If we started working on that by then, by the time we were here, we could have resolved, a lot of problems that we are facing. And also fast forward to 2022, the Township Economic Development Act was signed into law. But now the issue is, as we always say, and everybody knows, the issue of the implementation and also making sure that we enforce the bylaws. Because within the Township Economic Development Act, Chapter 6, it talks about municipalities and the bylaws. But unfortunately, here we are today. And the issue of the greening, as the President was, said, as I said early on, we've created programs. We don't want government to duplicate things that are already there.
Right.
We want them to come and partner with us, collaborate with us, because those programs are there. We've launched the greening of our townships. We've also, early this year, we had the rebranding of Spaza shop in Durban. There's a number of projects that we've already started. We're also excited about the 500 million. But we want to challenge the private sector. Let's top it up to 5 billion because there's a lot that needs to be done in the township economy. But we're excited about the 500 million. But we're also saying we've got TRAP, the Township and Rural Entrepreneurship Program, that we're excited about that. We've got a partnership with SIFA to make sure that we assist the Spaza shop. The Spaza shop development scheme as well with the Department of Small Business Development. Those are programs that are there that we want our people to take advantage of.
You speak of so many entities in terms of the private sector, civil society organizations such as yourselves, as well as government. Is there a cohesive working together that sees the implementation of acts such as TIDA to ensure that they are implemented right and we're not just duplicating programs upon programs without any action? This
is why we are calling upon government, from the national government to the provincial government to the local government, to say, let's work together, let's collaborate so that we don't duplicate. But at the end of the day, together we are able to achieve more. For example, is that we still say township economy is still left behind. For example, with the announcement yesterday of the Presidential Economic Advisory Council for the President, we don't have a seat in that council as township economy. When you look at the issue of NEDLEC, we don't have a seat in NEDLEC. The issue of Business for South Africa, we don't have a seat. Now the government is leaving us behind. They're going to Brazil to G20. We are not part of that delegation. That is why we are, requesting the president to make sure that, township economy is also not left behind.
Of course, because, it is the lifeblood of so many other economies that exist around the world. When we can't shy away from the elephant in the room with regards to foreign-owned Spaza shops. And when we are calling for Spaza shops to be registered, I can imagine that if many other illegally foreign-owned Spaza shops do exist, they would fall out of the way and out of the system. Does this then open a space for local players to be able to come in and establish their own Spaza shops? And with you requesting that the private sector must up the 500 million to 5 billion, are you seeing that as a way in which more local players could be involved?
Yeah, South Africans have been waiting. South Africans are ready. I can tell you that for the fact. Now, all what we are saying, let us be given a chance to run our Spaza shop because we've got programs. Remember, we've had partnership with the entrepreneurship school, where we then say, let's also take our people back to skills. The issue of skills development and training is critical. The enterprise supply development. Because when you look at the township economy and the Spaza shop, let's look at the whole value chain. The situation that we're facing now, let's go back to the source. From the manufacturing point, we've got programs like Walk to Work that we are saying, let's have all those industrial activities in the township so that people, they just walk to work. We also have a program called Farm to Spaza, with our own black farmers. Let's create a space for them, for their produce to go direct to, to the Spaza shop. Now we are saying, when you look at the whole industry of Spaza shop, let's look at the whole value chain and the supply chain.
Lastly, just in terms of accountability, for the fact that we do have so many foreign-owned Spaza shops within the townships, it means we let the ball go somewhere somehow. With the president now coming out and saying that Spaza shops must be registered, it doesn't necessarily prevent those Spaza shops from still existing within the townships. Does TEXA take responsibility and accountability in assisting government in ensuring that those that are not registered don't operate within the townships?
Yeah, basically that's the reason why we're here, because one of the critical part is the issue of the whole monitoring and evaluation. making sure that this whole thing is sustainable. Because at the end of the day, some of the things, there's this hype around a certain challenge, but 2 weeks, 3 weeks down the line,
it
dies down. Now, as TEXA, we want to say, we are here. We want to monitor and evaluate. That is why we've got the Imbizos. It's a national program that we want to, push it to all 9 provinces to make sure that we monitor and evaluate what needs to be done. The 6th of December, the 21 days, it's 6th of December. We need to make sure and come back and account.
All right. Thank you so much for your time. And we certainly do hope that your efforts within the townships will yield very good results. That's Bheki Twala from Texas speaking to us there about the 21 days in which the president has said that Spaza shops need to be registered.